How do you approach weeds? How would you define a weed for starters?
Yeah, I think this term, I'm not sure where I first heard it. It's gotten to be fairly common, though, this concept of pulling weeds from the portfolio rather than rebalancing the portfolio the traditional way, where you might just want to keep all of your positions at a set percentage of the portfolio. And so you maybe sell off some of the winners and reallocate to some of the underperformers and then redo that every quarter or half year or once a year. We don't do that. We tend to rebalance by pulling the weeds, the losers, and redistributing the proceeds to either new positions or existing winning positions. When do we do that? It's when we determine a stock needs to be weeded out of the garden. We have three boxes that need to be checked to determine a stock needs to be pulled from the portfolio. So let me just run down the list. The first criteria, the stock is a long-time loser or underperformer, and there's no obvious reason to believe that will change. We're typically not looking at selling within 2 years of buying unless something has really gone wrong. Typically, if it's been less than 2 years since we bought a stock, there's probably no reason for us to sell unless point number two, the original thesis for investing is broken. Now, that doesn't mean reasons for continuing to hold onto a business for the long term won't evolve. So, for example, you originally buy a small cap business because it's high growth, it's outperforming its industry, or maybe it has some disruptive new technology. Eventually, over time, that business will evolve. It'll go from a high growth revenue business to maybe a high profit growth business. So the reasons for continuing to hold will evolve over time. That's just natural. We're a top down approach. So maybe we start with industry dynamics and then what the business is doing within that industry. Maybe we've bought a business because they have some disruptive new technology. And maybe it becomes very apparent that what we thought was a long term positive aspect of the business actually is not. It's not working out. The thesis is broken. And then point number three, there's an obvious way to upgrade the portfolio by selling the stock and reallocating the proceeds somewhere else. Because that's the problem with sometimes with pulling weeds too early. Okay, you can pull the weed. Now you have cash on your hands. Maybe you just want the cash in the portfolio. That's fine. But is there an obvious place to redistribute those funds that will perform better than the stock that you just sold off?